Welcome back, everybody, to the Epics of Irindal. Last time, our party had been whisked away into the desert night by the tribe of the Hermon, the Aarakocra tribes of the eastern coastlines in the Almatur mesas, heading towards a destination they could not see as they were blindfolded as they flew deep into the night. And just at the crack of dawn, arriving both tired and confused at what was described to them as the Verdant Embrace, a canyon-like city between some of the larger plateaus and mesas of the Almatur. Inside, you all arrived at the basemost point of two large standing mesas on either side in this canyon, and carved deep into the canyon walls on both sides were the predominant residences of the Hermon tribe, this tribe of ancient Aarakocra, as well as a sort of oasis type town at the base of this cavern where a large pooled well water system had been established, as well as storage caverns at the base where the heat, the strong heat of the day could not evaporate said waters during certain parts of the year. You saw hunters arriving back from the coastlines with rows and rows of fish, sharks, other various bounties of the sea. And you were greeted now by the umbral hunters of the Hermon tribe, specifically Zaisha, one of the predominant leaders of this hunting party that you were confronted just after escaping the pursuit of one of the most dangerous creatures in this part of the world, the elusive and ravenous purple worms, massive worm-like creatures that burrow through rock and sand like it is nothing and just swallow creatures whole before descending back below the earth. You all had been attacked by a variety of airborne birds of prey, these demonic creatures known as Varroks. But you had escaped as these creatures were consumed by the same purple worm that tried to do the same to you. But luckily you were able to flee as the Hermon tribe had struck said creature before being whisked away to this hidden valley city. Shortly thereafter, you were taken to speak with the Elder. The individual you were somewhat instructed to find, Elder Ermongern, or Olmongern, a older, dark, almost raven-like Aarakocra. Inside their residence, you also met two other individuals. One, an owl-like Aarakocra, a very eccentric individual known as Tellus, the sort of spiritual center of this tribe, as well as the man you had been instructed to find for some time ago, or asked to find, the Dragonborn, former head of the Silver Talons. And upon speaking with them, you came to find that they were trying to convince the elder of the tribe to help with discovering what really occurred the day of the death of the presumed heir of the Jamila dynasty, and why he was banished from the dynasty as a whole. Unfortunately, the elder was more concerned with the incursions that the dynasty was making into their sacred lands and their homesteads, agitating creatures of the desert, and was concerned that blame for the death of the prince of the dynasty was being placed unduly upon their people. Upon your arrival, you were greeted with suspicion and your weapons seized from you, but you were promised to potentially have them back if you were found to be in the best interests of the tribe. And at this time, after some greetings with Zaisha, as well as a bit of time in one of the sort of communal hatcheries, if you will, or daycares of the young Aarakocra of the tribe, you all were split up, sent to different areas to assist the tribe in its day-to-day routines and duties. And now that's where we pick back up, as you all are whisked away to various locations within the Verdant Embrace, or whisked away towards the coastline to assist with the duties of some of the hunting parties, the blacksmiths of the group, or, of course, with the spiritual head of the tribe, Tellus. With that, who would like to go first in the continuation of this story?
I'll go first.
Okay. Dazes, as you are carried into the rising sun on the eastern coastline towards the Sea of Tusk, a location you visited briefly at times, but not you are not quite as familiar with it, as most of the trade routes along this coastline are dangerous, given that they are in close proximity to Orcish and Goblin tribes that are less than eager to do business with most of the other kingdoms and dominions of the continent of Irindal. Very few are granted access to these lands. Some are attacked directly on sight or raided for supply lines if they come too close to these coastlines further north. But in this particular location, as you come closer and closer to the coastline, you see the beautiful crystal clear waters, a stark difference from some of the other coastlines and port cities that you've been to that are beautiful in their own right, but the waters are by no means as clear and unadulterated as these. As you can see, even at this distance, the colorful shadows that are cast by some of the coral reefs and various tide pools that are all along the coastline here. Various wildlife is very vibrant and dynamic here. You can see large fish and seaborne mammals, as well as various birds gathering around the coastal tree lines that are along the greener portions before getting to the white sandy beaches here along the Sea of Tusk. And as you are carried down and you land, as Zaisha releases you from her talons along the coast, you can smell the strong salt air and the whip of the coastal winds directly wafting around your face. And you can hear the rushing crash of waves against the soft sandy beaches as the sun begins to rise, and you can feel the heat of the sun just as it begins to sparkle along the coastal waters of the Sea of Tusk. As Zaisha lands beside you, she looks at you. We're concerned about a number of dangerous prey in this area. We are capable hunters, but not the best of swimmers. We'd like to ask that you take a more direct approach in looking out for some of these larger, more dangerous prey within the waters. Not to say that they aren't home to this region, but we'd like to keep their presence to a minimum, as they a large population of more dangerous creatures do limit our ability to hunt the more surface-dwelling prey in this region. One of the last parties indeed said that they saw one or two large, potentially great white sharks in this area. If you can bring them close to the surface, we can assist you in limiting any that we may find. But at the same time, we would ask that you assist us in capturing other large prey that you might see along the coral reefs. At this point, one of the other umbral hunters, a kind of gray-feathered Aarakocra man with a larger plume along the back, almost like a mohawk of feathers extending from just above the center of the eyes all the way back to the nape of the neck, tosses over, and you catch your staff that had previously been taken from you.
I bow my head in thanks.
Will not make us regret giving you that back. As he takes flight above, and you see there's a number of them beginning to circle around certain areas of the reef. And you look over as Zaisha is kind of pointing you in that direction, where there's more of an open portion where the tide pool kind of circles in this area around the reef and some of the sandbars that are closer to the coast. And you can see even at this distance with your perception that there's larger schools of fish in this area, that they're beginning to kind of gauge where they can pick off some of the outer edge and begin to gather food for the tribe.
All right.
We'll go ahead and start there if you'd like to. However you prefer. Once they come within a certain distance of the surface, we can pick them off with ease. Just be aware that we have spotted a number of dangerous predators here, and if you do encounter any of them, do be careful and try to bring them to the surface so we may assist.
Understood.
With that, what would you like to do, Dazes?
Also, from what I understand, I'm kind of like herding them towards the surface a little bit.
You get the general understanding, yes. But, if you're, are able to assist in, catching anything, or anything you might find of value, while you're looking about below the surface of the water, you see that they're gathering more than just food, that, you see certain resources being collected all along the coastline. That it depending on what they see, the very much this hunter-gatherer mentality, more so than just merely the limited hunting of fish.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I guess I'll take a. Are they just starting when I'm getting there, or have they been working on previously? Because I wanted to see if I can get a look at what they had already besides fish, if they had anything, so that I can get an idea of
Sure.
what to keep a lookout for while I'm underwater.
You can see at this distance that some of the younger hunters are along the coast, and they're gathering up large mollusks and things of that nature, clams, shellfish, easier prey, while some of the more experienced hunters are carrying longbows with these barbed arrows that fly deep into the water, and a lot of them have rope ties to the end of them that they can use to then drag the prey to the surface and then out of the water. And you see pairs of these Aarakocra carrying like staves, like thick pieces of rolled lumber that they then, as soon as they drag something out of the water, they'll tie it off to one of those staves and just let it hang before it, completely, gives up the ghost. Not unlike the
Okay.
ones that you saw in the tribe that you saw some of these larger creatures hanging from as they arrived back in the base of the Verdant Embrace.
Okay, hold on. Okay, wait, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I got okay. I have water walk.
Okay.
Um, can is water walk something where I can like use to be on above the surface versus like below?
Yeah, go ahead and if you don't mind, there's an option that you should be able to post it in chat.
Yeah, let me. Oh shoot, which one is it? There's the question. I'm gonna press use even though I'm not actually
Okay.
using it.
This spell grants the ability to cross any liquid surface such as water, acid, mud, snow, quicksand, lava, as it were, solid. Underground creatures. Target the. Oh, okay. You target a creature submerged in liquid. The spell carries the target to the surface in liquid as a 60-foot per round. Oh, okay, gotcha. See the range, the ability, duration. Okay. What's the? Does it give you a total duration on the spell?
Hour.
1 hour. Okay. Yeah, you're good then. So yeah, you're totally able to cast Water Walk if you'd like.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and cast that.
Okay. You cast the spell. You feel the sort of almost like motion, like a cushion of air below your feet as you step out onto the surface of the waves. It's still, you know, the undulation doesn't disappear, but you don't sink immediately below the surface of the water as you step out a few feet out, and you can see some of the hunters above you, probably some 30, 40, 50, upwards of like 80 feet in the air, are watching as you walk out onto the surface of the water, having never seen something like this before, watching you intently.
Okay, so all right. So I guess I don't know. I guess I'll observe from above, around the areas where they're kind of gathering,
Okay.
and I guess if or when I see um if or when I see areas of stuff that's similar to what they're gathering, I'll dive, I suppose, and
Sure. Go ahead and give me a perception check if you don't mind.
okay.
The 16. Yes, you can see as you follow their gaze and look down, you can see there's schools of fish that are circling, and they're targeting specifically the fish along the outside. As these, it's harder to see specific targets when they're grouped together, and this is a a natural mechanism of defense for these fish that they use not only for more dangerous predators below the waves, but just predators in general as they group together to simulate one larger creature. But the Aarakocra have kind of learned from this as well, and they are targeting specifically exterior edges of this school of fish, and you can see one go down right in front. There's a large, almost like a marlin without the serrated nodule at the end of the nose. It's more of a series of serrations along the spine, but a similar shape. And you watch as this arrow sinks down, and you see this tuft of crimson, enter the water just before that barb shoots through, and you watch almost immediately in a similar motion. One of the adjacent Aarakocra grabs the rope that's been extended down through the water and yanks it up with its talon. There's a variety of this type of fish specifically in this area, kind of circling. You also see that there are a variety of mollusks, various nodules of oyster beds and things deeper downwards. And as you're looking down, it's almost like a wide shadow that you almost miss as these fish are circling, almost like a vortex circle as it goes downwards and downwards and downwards, probably 80 feet, but just at the edge of your dark vision, you see something moving at the base of this circulation of fish. And even at this distance, you can tell this is a very large creature. And it is slowly circling at the base of this school of fish. Almost to the point where you miss it as it passes along one of the walls of this procession of fish. And just as one of these marlin-like fish moves to the outer periphery towards this shadow, you watch as it just is enveloped and disappears into the darkness below.
Well, I guess we're not getting that one. All right. I mean, I know they said they wanted me to like try to bring them up to the surface. I don't know if they want me to like announce it first. I guess I'll maybe go up and let them know that I'm about to try to lure this big, massive predator up to the surface so they can be ready.
Okay. As you go ahead and describe to me how you try to get their attention.
Oh, can they? I mean, I don't know if they can see me underwater. I was thinking I might just swim up to the surface.
Oh, I thought you were still on this. I didn't know you had dipped below the water.
Oh. Okay. Well, if I'm still on the surface, I guess I'll gesture to the one who had initially got the arrow at the marlin.
Okay.
Since that marlin's gone now, and I'll I don't know. I guess I'll tell him that his catch has been captured by a significantly larger predator.
You saw
deeper.
that one in particular that they pulled out definitely was captured by them, but the one that you saw disappear was much deeper, like almost 80 feet below the surface, like just at the edge of your vision.
Okay.
Like there's a portion of this area surrounded by coral reefs, and as it goes further out towards the ocean itself, you watch as it's sort of a shallow decline of the coral reef and the rocks and below, and then suddenly there's a steep decline dipping down completely into shadow, and that's the edge of where you saw this creature.
Okay.
This larger shadow below. And that's
so
about
maybe
3/4. Yeah, that sharp dip is about 3/4 to a mile out from the edge of the coast.
Okay. So
Right?
maybe I'll
Go ahead.
I was gonna say maybe I'd stand over where I saw the shadow.
Okay.
Like kind of directly over, and then I'll I don't know, maybe like gesture towards them that this huge predator is like directly below me, like very deep in the waters.
Okay. You watch from above. You can see Zaisha is watching you specifically, and as you give this signal or something abnormal, she turns her head and eyes to of the more seasoned hunters, and they follow her downwards to the point where they're about like 20 or 30 feet above the surface of the water, just hovering there, waiting patiently, but trying to do so outside of the shine of the direct sunlight, trying to stay behind shadows if possible, utilizing whatever angle they can to mitigate being seen from above the surface.
Mm-hmm.
But she gives you a nod of acknowledgement before you descend below the waves.
Alrighty.
Go ahead and give me one more perception check.
Okay.
What was the funniest low key, like, just like to describe gesture that there's a giant thing underneath you?
I don't know.
With a
It's like I
Real?
could speak
Yeah.
English, I guess. I could probably speak common, but no, we don't
Yeah.
need that, do we?
You see with this now that you have kind of located what you were looking for, seeing this shadow once more, whereas most would not be able to eye this creature, you immediately make a beeline for the location prior, looking around carefully, having seen large predators of the ways in your many travels across the oceans of Irindal. And you immediately see, as you descend down, now about 40, 50 feet below the surface, you see a massive great white shark. Rose, a long cylindrical torpedo-like body, a large dorsal fin extending back. This creature probably weighs anywhere from 800 to 1,000 pounds. And you can definitely see why having something like this or roaming these waters would make hunting potentially dangerous if anyone were to descend and not be aware of it. What would you like to do?
I would like to. Let me see. Okay, when I saw that other like marlin, was that other marlin the 80 feet down or not quite that far?
The shadow you see now is about 80 or 90 feet down, the great white shark. The marlin that you saw at the time before it disappeared into the shadows was about 65, 70 feet down before this shadow came up and swallowed it from below. And now as you get deeper down, you can smell in the water your scent stronger down here from your lineage. You get the scent of blood in the water.
Yeah, sounds about right. Okay. And the question is, how close do I want to get? Because I want to get its attention. Let's start with, I don't know, like 45, maybe 50 feet down.
Okay.
From the surface.
You're not far now as you descend downwards, about 50 feet below the surface. You keep eyeing this creature, not wanting to lose sight of it down below the shadows as it moves a little bit deeper down, maybe about 90 feet. But even at this distance with dark vision, you're still able to see it just on the edge of your dark vision down below the surface. You can see that the decline of the coral reef now just descends into darkness and rocky chasm below as this creature is moving downwards. And you've seen creatures like this before, hunters of the depths, that utilize the shadows from below to cloak themselves before immediately rushing up to grab anything that's foolish enough to get close to the edge of their striking distance.
He's goading me. Well, goading anything, I guess.
Go ahead and give me an insight check.
Okay.
The 20. You don't get the sense that they're intentionally hiding, at least not yet. They are descending down in slow motion as to not... You've seen this before from other creatures like this, that they're descending down slowly as to not alert the school. They're looking for easy prey. These are opportunistic hunters, more so than just outright, just rage-filled killing machines. They will wait their time to catch an easier prey that they don't have to expend as much energy to do so. And that seems to be what they're doing now. They're just biding their time, waiting for something foolishly to come closer to the darkness.
Closer to the darkness. Would I have any idea of how fast they can swim?
Go ahead and give me a nature check.
Nat 20 plus
A
1.
nat 20. You would know they are very quick. They cannot survive outside of the water for maybe a few minutes, but a great white can probably move as fast as you do on land, if not faster.
Yeah, probably faster.
That these are well optimized underwater hunting machines.
Okay. I guess I'm gonna try going down a little lower.
Okay. Are you doing so stealthily, or are you just trying to coy with this creature?
Yeah, stealthily was not the intention.
Okay.
But carefully?
Carefully. Okay. You descend down carefully. No need to roll in this instance. As you come down, almost like down the eye of this tornado of swirling fish. As you go down slowly, the fish themselves pay you no mind, kind of seeing you moving through the water in a more casual fashion, not fighting the currents, but moving down with them as you descend lower and lower in towards the darkness. Go ahead and give me one more perception check.
Okay.
The 15. We're just barely able to catch this creature as it descends now deep into the darkness. But you see that as it does so, it is beginning to turn and level off. And just as it begins to level off and turn, you feel the current become slowed before you feel a sudden rush, almost like a vibration, and you hear the movement from down below as this huge fin whips through the currents of the water, and you watch as this creature ascends towards you, jaw stretched wide. I need you to roll initiative for me.
Initiative.
Yeah. We're just going to do this sort of theater of the mind style.
Okay. My goal is not to kill this thing, though. My goal is to live.
Right. You are
Get
first to
help.
act. What would you like to do? As you watch this great white ascending upward as the jaw begins to spread wide, you see almost 3 rows of razor-sharp barbed teeth, like serrated edges of a knife on all sides, just catching the gleam of the last remnants of sunlight piercing through the waves.
And I dodge to like the side, and I guess a little bit up too, but mostly to the side.
You want to take the dodge action?
Yeah.
You do have the ability to do that as a bonus action if you spend key points.
Yeah, let me see. How close is it to me, like at the moment?
At the moment, it's rushing up. It's probably 40 feet away.
40 feet, okay.
It's almost rushing up almost perfectly from below you.
Okay. So yeah, I don't know if I want to. I would actually like to get a little bit higher up. So maybe I will wait. Maybe not wait for it, but well, yeah, maybe I'll wait for it too. Okay. A bonus action will be my dodge. I want
Okay.
to. I don't know if I want to attack it. Well, no. Well, shit. How do you find a shark? Fuck. Um.
I mean, you do have a swim speed, so...
Yeah, I'll use my move action. I'm gonna swim. I don't know how far up I want to swim. Well, yeah, I'm gonna swim I guess diagonally, kind of up and towards the direction of where I know my companions are above the water. Actually, swim
Okay.
in that direction.
How far are you wanting to move?
If it's 40 feet below me, I'll move. I don't know if I want to do the whole 45. That might be too much.
Yeah,
Go, like,
right now you're about 60 feet down. 50 to somewhere between 50 and 60 feet.
I guess we can do 30 for now.
Okay.
And then my bonus action will be the dodge.
Okay. You still have your action as well.
Yeah, I don't know what I do with my action, to be honest, because I'm kind of far from it now. I can't really, like, prepare an attack. I don't think I have anything this range plus I'm underwater.
You can prepare an attack if you want to. You can hold your action to do something if, a condition is met.
Oh.
Because you still have your action. You haven't spent it. If you wanted to, there's always the option to hold your action. So if you want to prepare an action, which is what it's called, to attack this creature if it comes within striking distance of you, you can spend both your action and your reaction at the time of the condition to then attack during that point in time. And then you also still have the fact that your bonus action dodging with your patient defense, I believe is the terminology.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and prepare both of those to attack if it gets close enough.
Okay.
I don't think of anything else.
Okay. You dart up about 30 feet up through the waves. You can easily see just barely these silhouettes above, these tiny specks with the wings fluttering above through the water. But your focus now is as you stop about 20 feet below the surface of the waves. You can see this creature rushing directly up, fish scattering in all directions. But this creature now is focused on you as its attack is moving imminently. It rushes up with a ferocious speed, 50 feet in an instant. And then it's going to dash to try to get up towards you within striking distance. But in doing so, it comes within range of your melee if you want to take that prepared action.
Let's do it.
Okay. So yeah, you have your staff, and I believe that's... I don't believe that is inhibited by the waves because it's a bludgeoning weapon.
Okay.
But you do have your unarmed strikes, which are definitely not inhibited by the waves.
Yeah, I'll go ahead. I prefer to use the unarmed strike.
Okay.
That'd be better.
Okay, so go ahead and give me an attack roll. We'll see how that goes. With a 16, you definitely hit. You strike directly down onto the nose of this creature before its jaw completely open. As it rushes through, you feel the gills spread wide, the teeth come down as you hit a solid piece of cartilage on the nose. Go ahead and roll for damage. Okay. Solid strike as you feel something crush and break down on the nose as this creature gnashes back and forth. And you do have a second attack if you'd like to do that.
Why not? Let's punch it again.
Okay. An 18 hits as well as you strike around the second time, driving your elbow up towards the eye of this creature, this dark black orb that looks at you angrily and hungrily. Go ahead and roll for damage.
Oh, max damage both times.
Both times, both solid strikes as each time you crush into a piece of cartilage. And you feel now, as this is happening, you watch as a series of arrows pierce down through the water down towards you, but manage to pass by either side. Let's see if they hit. Unfortunately, they are doing so with a disadvantage at this location. Nope, the one still hits. It is going to roll. Doing a solid amount of damage as well as you watch. Let me double check the other one. The other one, unfortunately, does not hit. It just goes wide over the top of the fin. But the one strikes down, and you watch as this arrow digs in deep just into the side of this creature, and you watch as this barbed arrow sinks in. Let me double check to see if it makes purchase and stays. It does not, as you watch this creature thrash to the side and the arrow is jettisoned out the side, but you do watch as blood begins to spurt out into the water around you. But both solid strikes. This creature, the first two strikes from yourself, and then now this barbed arrow that immediately is dragged back out of the water. This trail of red blood extending up towards the surface now in front of you, sending this creature into a horrendous frenzy. But it is, they had to use their action to dash. Let's see. Yeah, that's all they can do right now. We are back to your turn, Dazes.
Okay.
As this creature is reeling around to try to turn and bite at you again now that it's freed from the arrow.
Okay, it is still focused on me?
Yes, it is still attacking you.
Okay. And how far am I under the surface now? Like 25, 30 feet, something like that?
About 20 feet down.
Okay. I'm gonna... I don't know at what point this thing might choose to turn around and go deeper, but I'm gonna try to bring it closer to the surface.
Okay.
I'm gonna swim upwards.
Okay, if you leave its melee range, it's going to get an opportunity attack.
Okay, well, I will go ahead and use my bonus action to disengage.
Okay, you go ahead and disengage, kicking off of it as you do so, using the momentum to escape the first of multiple bites, but you are able to disengage without taking any damage as you ascend towards the surface.
Okay, and then I will go ahead and prepare, I guess, my action and reaction for attacks again.
Okay.
While I am, I guess, as close to the surface as I can get. I don't know if I want to go like above the surface, but as close to the surface as I can get, so that they'll have a cleaner shot at hitting it.
Sure.
A clean shot at hitting it, I should say.
Yeah, you ascend upwards, taking your patient defense once more. Or are you taking patient defense, or are you just waiting there? Sorry, I didn't want to assume if you weren't intending to use any more key points.
Yeah. What else am I going to use it for?
Okay. You take your defense, prepared now to make a series of strikes as it comes towards you, which it does immediately. So if you want to go ahead and take your strikes.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay. 24 definitely hits as you strike again, just below that same spot near the eye. Another solid strike. You have one more.
Okay. Just casually beating the shit out of a shark.
Yeah, and you come down again with the other hand, the broad side of your forearm, striking it across the nose, trying to bat it away. It is very bloody. It is not looking good, but it is. You can see and you can feel the anger and the ferocity of this creature as you make those two strikes. But it is going to try to turn and bite at you a couple times. The first, and it is going to go into a blood frenzy and attack you with advantage.
Oh boy.
Getting a crit.
Oh no. I don't like that.
That is 17 piercing damage as the bite comes down hard against your thigh as you feel these razor sharp teeth dig in deep and lacerate across the edge of your thigh. And then it's going to make one more strike against you. getting a 19 to hit.
Damn, just got it. Well, attack. I guess attackers win if it's a tie, so he's one over. But
Right.
yep, I got it.
That time doing 7 piercing damage as a second strike just across your calf hits the same leg as you watch your blood beginning to spill out into the salty water as it stings. This creature is going to try to, because it hit both strikes, is going to try to grapple you and pull you under. I need either an acrobatics or an athletics check from you.
Alright, that'll definitely be acrobatics.
Alright, so it's got to beat a 23. It does not, as you slip out,
Let's go.
not catching as much purchase as it would like. And as this happens, you now watch a trio of arrows come down. This time not, because you're so close to the surface, they can see this creature clearly. This one, yeah, well into the 20s. It comes down and strikes. And you see this arrow coming down with even more force than you had expected. Now, as if some sort of otherworldly force is driving this thing through the water into this creature. Doing a solid amount of damage. Let's see if it stays in this time. It does not. It slides through, but does a significant damage. This creature is not looking good. Second strike hits as well. This creature's just barely holding on. Let's see if this arrow stays. That one does not, as it managed to break free, but it has one more strike here. That's definitely going to hit as well, as you see all 3 arrows descend. And this... Oh, it's going to make it. No, you see the third arrow come down directly through the location where you struck this creature originally, on just above the nose, as this arrow comes down directly into the skull. And you watch as the fury and ferocity of this creature disappears near instantaneously as it begins to turn on its side and slowly float towards the surface as clouds of red blood just slowly drift off this creature as it floats up to the surface.
Nice. I'm gonna swim back up to the surface and I guess re-stand on the water.
Okay.
I think I still have that.
Yeah, you ascend almost like levitating above the water. You can see the blood dripping down your thigh and your calf from the pair of bites. But directly beside you, you see the lifeless body of this massive, nearly 1,000-pound beast of the sea, this apex predator of the ocean, laid bare at the surface of the water. As you see Zaisha and 2 other umbral hunters floating, just hovering above you, their longbows, now as they fire a series of barbed arrows directly into either side of this creature. And then you watch as several other of the Aarakocra come and begin dragging. It takes like 5 or 6 of them simultaneously to drag this creature up into the air as, you know, pools of blood begin to drain down from the multiple puncture wounds that it sustained alongside your various physical strikes as this creature is drug up. And now you see the full weight and scale of this creature.
As they're lifting it up into the air, I'm standing underneath it, and the blood is dripping onto me.
You look up and you see the admiration of some of the hunters, specifically some of the older hunters. Just the scale of this creature. The younger ones on the shore, just you see the eyes and the pupils, almost like the optics of a telescope, just grow wide as they see this massive shark being dragged out of the water. And this acknowledgement of a well-claimed hunt. As you feel the satisfaction of a job accomplished, as a few of the hunters are still gathering various supplies, but a well-deserved kill as Aisha looks down at you. You took a bit of a scratch, but well done, well done. Not many of our more seasoned hunters would have been able to bait and sustain such a wound. If we were to be dragged below, the likelihood of survival for one of us would have been less than naught. But nonetheless, well done. And with that, we're going to switch back over to one of our other members of the party. Who would like to go next?
I'll go.
Okay. Floof. At the time, early in the morning, as Dazes is carried away towards the coast, and you watch Trash and Billet head off towards the edge of the base of the verdant embrace, towards the plumes of stoking fires of one of the forges, you are carried up by a pair of Aarakocra, one on each shoulder, as you're carried up towards the higher end of the left-hand side, the northern edge of the verdant embrace of the canyon walls, up towards what looks to be this large dome-like domicile that's carved directly out of the rock. And as you get closer, you can smell a variety of herbs wafting out of this domicile, a strong scent of lemongrass, lavender, but also more intense herbs, almost like an oregano, but also a weed sort of scent. Not weed, not that kind of weed, not that kind of weed, but like a like a desert sort of grass like substance, like you've never seen before outside or inside the embrace of the Aelenwalt forest. Something new yet familiar at the same time. As you are guided into this domicile, you can see this scent is strong here. And inside you see Ulman Telis, the spiritual head of this tribe, looming over this stone-like basin. It is intricately carved and bubbling with this heavily scented liquid, and you see a variety of runes carved all across it and around it as she darts back and forth, staring into the waters, just eyeing it curiously and also speculatively as she monitors the temperature and the movement of the vapors over the surface of the water. And as you get closer, you notice some of these runes are druidic in nature. And you see the word... Whoa, Jesus Christ, what the fuck was that? Oh my god. Sorry, I opened up my other monitor and it like immediately blasted me with sound.
Porn. Oh.
What's up?
I said when you saw your porn tab was still open.
Yeah, my homework tab. Yeah, no. Homework. I haven't been in school in years. Same thing. No, not quite. No, I have two instances of Roll20 open. One on either system, so I can, move stuff around without it suddenly popping into view for you guys. Because not everything I want to show you is stuff you get to see right now.
Fair.
But you do see one rune that you recognize just instinctively. You don't know where this word comes from, but a sudden memory, a surge of natural knowledge that you can't quite place where you've seen this word before, but you know it instinctively. This druidic rune standing for reminiscence. And then at this point, as you get closer, you see Telis's gaze turn towards you. Ah, yes, you arrive, you come quick, come here. Much to see, much to learn, come here. she waves her wing for you to come and observe the this cistern that she stands over with this softly bubbling liquid.
I'm gonna lift my. You know how you lift the top of your mouth and you're like, what the going on here? At her demeanor and strangeness. What is?
Pardon me, I didn't catch that last part.
What is this place?
This is home. This is place of knowledge, of learning, of observance. And you look over, and she's got in the edge of this dome-like carved out portion of her home, you see this large hole that's now currently covered with a sheet, but directly in front of it, you see this sort of well-made makeshift device that extends up into a wide sort of angled piece of metal that's been softly forged and bent, like work forged. If you've ever seen work forged copper, like you can definitely see the hammer strikes, but they're very intentional. It's almost beautiful in the way that it's forged into this cone-like structure. And at the end of it, you see at the narrowest end, you see a small, beautiful green lens of glass or some sort of crystalline lens. And at the far end, this well-polished dome of crystal clear glass-like material. You've seen very few of these sort of apparatuses, but you get the understanding that this is likely some sort of stargazing telescope-like device. Not currently in use, as its most critical components are covered with soft fabrics and things of that nature, so they aren't scratched. But you can see here, as she motions to it briefly, I observe, I learn from the world. The spheres in the sky teach us much.
Spheres in sky?
Yes, they provide light, but knowledge of the past, and sometimes the future.
The past?
Yes, much can be learned from the past. Scars in the earth, scars in people, scars in the mind, the dreams.
My past or any past?
Any who are willing to learn, to observe. And she kind of motions over the bubbling liquid. Would you like to observe? To learn?
I will reach into and grab the leather, the piece of leather.
Oh, what is this? What is this? And she kind of looks, and you see her eyes just kind of like the optics of a camera lens, just moving and observing and growing wider as she looks closer at this scrap of leather.
She doesn't try to reach for it or anything, right?
No, she has her hands like as you kind of hold it. She kind of looks around and moves to either side. She doesn't touch it, but you can see like she's looking very closely, like just a few inches away with her wide owl-like eyes.
I'll say, tell me past of this.
Let me see. Yes, let me see. May I? She holds out both her hands in a sort of cupped bowl-like formation.
I think about it for a few moments. Or obviously reluctantly dropping it into her wing.
I will not hurt. I will not destroy. It's valuable, yes. You love this, yes.
Hate.
Oh. I sense much pain. Yes. But we learn today. We learn from one another. I never met another like you outside of our tribe. I must learn. I must experience. She holds the piece of leather down, or she pulls it down into a more open space and gently sets it down on the ground before grabbing or reaching out with these long claw-like talons at the end of her wings, grabbing at bowls of ingredients on either end, on shelves, grabbing various liquids and things around, and you watch as she begins to circle around this piece of leather as sort of the focal point of some sort of ritualistic casting, as you begin to feel the energies kind of circulate around this point, beginning to operate some sort of ritual as you feel the energies begin to well up, very much like your own sort of naturally drawn energies. As she begins to observe, and you watch as the large pupils of her eyes begin to dilate almost to the point of like pinpricks, as the eyes just focus down on this piece of leather. I sense much pain, much sorrow, much regret of the past.
I'm gonna get on all fours and get as close as what feels safe and stare at it, trying to see the same thing.
The Vash is on this item. We have touched it. It has been touched by the Vash, by the aberrant energies of the world, by unnatural things.
What is Vosh?
The world, the corruption of this world. When the natural world ceases to be, when it is tainted, that is the Vash.
I nod. Keep going. Tell me more. Kind of suggestive nod.
Hold on one sec here. I'm going to go ahead and pull up Tellus's picture here just for a little bit of... Just a moment. Continue here. There we go. That's a little bit better. So we have a visual representation. That is all I can see of an item. My understanding is of people. The living world. The natural world tells so much more. And the dreams of the natural world, the people in it, tell great things. Perhaps you would like to know more of yourself. Would you like to learn?
Kind of squint hesitantly, but interested in learning more. I will slowly nod.
Okay. She picks up the piece of leather and carefully hands it back to you. Hold this close. It means something to you. Try to focus on it. But come quick. And she stands over this bubbling cistern of liquid. You can smell that the scent is strong. All those scents you smelled coming into this home are all coming from this bubbling liquid. As it almost like a fog, almost like a dry ice fog is just kind of billowing up over this cistern. As she kind of stands over it, kind of passing her fingertip just ever so gently through the top of it, observing its temperature and its the thickness of the smoke coming off of this bubbling liquid now that you can see is becoming much denser. Yes. Come quickly. Come close. You must be prepared. This is the cistern of reminiscence. It can teach much of the past. Memories locked away by the mind are the dreams. We can learn of the past.
I will follow her lead and enter this strange contraption.
You must focus. Be calm of mind. This is no easy task. But one can learn much. One can learn from memories locked long ago. From the very earliest of life, one can learn. Are you ready?
I try to find calmness inside of me, but with the leather, I'm feeling a lot of, raw emotions for mother and trying to learn. I think I'm a little scared learning about my past as well and the path it might lead me down. But I will try to find the calmness she says I need, but I don't think I'm gonna do a good job.
You feel a reassuring talon reach up and touch your shoulder as she looks into your eyes, the pupils widening as she observes you. Fear not, child. You are young. You can still learn. But one must understand where they come from before they can move forward into the future and understand the world as a whole. And she's going to cast guidance on you.
Oh, okay.
So any ability checks or saving throws that you make, you can add a d4 to them.
Awesome.
Now, focus your mind. Think of the past. And as you kind of look down into the cistern once again, she wafts up a big plume of this smoke directly into your face, forcing you to inhale this billowing. It is chilly at first, but there's a soft warmth that penetrates your lungs as you get all the scents along with the effects of these herbs and various alchemical ingredients distilled down in this billowing cistern. I need you to make a wisdom saving throw for me.
That +4.
Well, you roll, do /R 1d4. And then you would add that. So it would be an 18 total.
Okay.
Although you start to get a gentle headache, like directly between your eyes, as you're forced to close them, you're able to push through it as you focus on memories of the past and that gentle warmth that overcomes you as this billowing mist enters your lungs. And in your mind's eye, you begin to see visions of the past. Give me just a moment here. This first memory, as the foggy haze of this mist gives way to the memories, you find yourself standing at a riverside. You look down at your hands that were once these large mitts of your adult form, now much smaller, thinner. And you feel yourself, although still much larger than your average young child, perhaps at this point in your life, anywhere from 4 to 4.5 feet tall, quite large for a child of, at this point you realize you're not much more than 5, maybe 6 years old. As you stand at this riverside, on the opposite end, you see this massive female brown bear. You recognize this individual immediately. The grunting of your mother as she watches over this flowing river as large fish are swimming upstream directly between the two of you. You instinctively swing your hand through the water, trying to bat one of these fish out of the way or grab at it, unable to seize this swimming fish. And you do so again and again with little luck. But as you look up in frustration, you watch the tempered nature of your mother, your what's the word I'm looking for? The bear version of canine. Is it
Cub?
no.
Oh no.
There's a word I'm trying to think of. It's a descriptor. I'll think of it later. Ursine. Yes, Ursine. Thank you. It was something. It ends the same way. Ursine. The Ursine form and power, yet calm. Swing as this mitt, this clawed bear claw digs deep into the water, and you watch as this large salmon comes sailing out over your head and gently flopping around behind you for several seconds before going still and lifeless as your Ursine adoptive mother looks at you. At this point in time, you really haven't come to terms with the fact that you are not directly blood related. You just see this caring creature as it looks to you, unable, you don't quite, they say nothing, but you see the look and the motion of the claw as it digs through the water. And at this point, there's a mixture of somewhat child understanding, but a bit of frustration and rage building up in your chest as you feel like, why can't I do this? Why can't I succeed? Why can't I, and you swing, and as you do so, the energy builds up in your fist. The claws begin to extend out, an ability you now know as your primal savagery. As you dig through the water, this fish swinging up, as you look up, a smile on your face in success as this fish swings up through the air over to the side of your mother, but in doing so, you slip ass over tea kettle into the raging water, completely enveloped in the rushing currents. Before you are snatched up, you feel the drag just on the back of your shoulder. A bit of a bite, but not in a dangerous, harming way, but in a nurturing means of pulling you from the rushing water, otherwise being drugged down with the force of nature. As you are slowly pulled from the water, you are slowly pulled from this memory as you look now into the face of Tellus once more. You see memory of a family, of a loved one. I see it in your eyes. What do you learn? What did you see?
I cry and just say, Mama.
Ah. This piece, it has significance to this one? Yes.
I nod, trying not to cry more.
Yes. There is a connection here, a thread of dreams. We should pursue this further. Yes, we should learn more. Are you okay to continue?
I nod quickly.
Calm your mind once more. Look down once more.
This time I feel like I'm able to get calm faster, because I know that could mean I see Mama again.
You look down into the cistern once more, and after a deep breath, another flood of this thick, billowing smoke comes up and enters your lungs. I need one more saving throw from you, please. Wisdom. You still have the effects of guidance as well. So you can go ahead and add a d4 to that. So same thing. There you go. Okay, so a 17 total. Again, you feel a bit stronger pain in the center between your eyes, but you're able to push through it as you feel yourself pushing through the thick smoke as your mind begins to flow forward. Once again, you find yourself in a memory, this time much older, much closer to your current form. In fact, less than a year before this very moment. As you look down on your hands, you feel a warm liquid all over them. It drips down, thicker than water, but more viscous than sap. And far more crimson. As it covers your face, your torso, and both your hands, and you look down at the lifeless body of a massive black bear. Not your mother. But the one you know. You see you feel the anger welling up in your chest. The desire to tear this creature limb from limb, for it has wronged your family, wronged your mother, killed her cubs many, many years before you arrived in her care. For your very earliest memories, this bear had ravaged their home, taken from her only children at this time. This bear, you drag its lifeless body away as to not further dwell upon the sorrow that you see in your mother's eyes as you pull the lifeless body away, dragging it towards the riverside to clean it up, intending to use what you can from it as to provide use from the now lifeless form of this killer, this enraging creature. And as you pull it away, you briefly see a small wound upon the back calf of your mother. A bite from this creature. A festering wound that you remember she carried with her until her dying days. At the time, you didn't think about it. At the time, you did not know what it was. You thought, my mother will be here forever. Oh, how wrong you were. And as you pull this lifeless body of the diseased black bear away, skin of which you now carry with you, you begin to realize where the infection that took hold of your mother came from. As you begin to put reason to what had happened. This was no intentional act, but nonetheless, something abhorrent, unnatural had infected your mother. The day she left to leave you at peace so she did not do the same as this black bear, this dangerous, infected creature, is the day you found her dead. It was not the doctor that did this, but some infection of nature, some unnatural energy left by that wound that did in your mother. As you step back into the haze and back into the room, looking Tellus directly in the eyes, you see sorrow, you see pain, but you learn. I see it in your eyes. You learn a truth today. But there is more. Something more. I see it. We are on the cusp of something new. Discovery. Can your heart bear it? Can you learn more?
This time I wake up very angry, and I fight the urge to grab Tellus and demand that she sends me back for more. But I clench my fists angrily, and I'll nod to go back again.
She kind of hesitates a bit and steps away for just a moment as she senses the anger welling up inside you. But proceeds forward, understanding the delicate nature of what you're experiencing. You must be careful. The mind, the dreams are a terrible place sometimes. It is hard to make sense of what has happened, what we don't understand. But learning is moving forward. Learning is understanding. Learning from the emotions of the past, our dreams. Are you ready?
I close my eyes without speaking, and I'm ready.
This time you feel the talons push down on your shoulders. As she pushes your face and your shoulders down deep into, not quite into the water, but deep into the billowing cloud coming off of the cistern. As you get almost a belly full of this mist, and it this time burns in your lungs. I need one more saving throw from you, please. Wisdom. Go ahead and add your... There you go. Yeah. So you know, you needed a 15 on that one. But you inhale this burning like smoke. Yes. Hold tight. Hold tight. Do not breathe out. Hold. Hold. It's a struggle to hold in as the effects of the smoke take hold. And just when you think you can hold no longer, you begin to cough. And as you do so, as the air exits your lungs and you begin to get really dizzy, you feel yourself fall back into a final memory. can hear a heavy breathing. You can barely see what is going on. You feel the gentle pitter-patter of rainfall as you are coddled tightly in some sort of soft fabric. But you hear the rhythmic, intense heartbeat of another as their arms hold you tightly. You hear their heavy breathing. And as you listen closer, you hear them softly praying. You cannot make out the words at this time, but you can definitely sense the cadence of a prayer. To whom you do not know, to what you do not know, but you feel them running intensely. Their heart beats rapidly against your ear on the opposite side of this soft fabric as they hold you close. You hear cries in the distance, shouting. At first, you cannot understand the words. For minutes, all you hear are the labored breaths of someone running with you in their arms. You are small. You are frail. You are an infant. Unable to understand and fully what you are going through at this time as your eyes, your face are covered from the dangers of the world. But you feel the frantic heartbeat of this individual as they hold you tightly, carefully. Then you hear a shout once again, now clear, in an elvish tongue. Stop running! Cries pierce again. Stop! As the rain sounds grow louder before a crack of thunder, and then a sudden silvery white light envelops everything around you, and you feel weightlessness as the arms holding you close give way. And for a moment, you feel yourself falling, before you hit a soft, wet, mossy patch of earth as the cloth covering your eyes is pulled away gently, and you are forced to let out a wailing infant's cry into the night. You can barely see anything. The only sudden bits of light are from the flash of lightning and thunder all around you. But as you cry into the cold night air and turn your eyes, you look forward to your right-hand side, and you see a shaking young woman, jet black hair, soft, stone-like gray skin, reaching out desperately towards you as they lie in the mud, their form singed on one side, almost of being burned by something. The wound, this blackened exterior on their flesh, as they reach out with their uninjured hand towards you, as they struggle to hold on to consciousness. But their focus is entirely on you as you cry out an infant's cries into the night. You are unable to speak. But as you cry and look onto this desperate face, piercing blue eyes staring directly at you, jet black hair, soft stone gray skin, before a large, pale hand grabs out towards this female figure, grasping her by the scalp and pulling her away from the ground. You see the sudden gleam of something steel and solid and sharp. Before the life of the eyes of this young woman, looking directly at you, as the pointed end of a dagger is driven directly through the neck. As the life vanishes slowly as they look upon you. And you hear the words, "O Dracon! We have the last survivor instructed." And then you hear a deeper voice. "Leave the babe. Let the wolves have it. These Joran are so fixated on their hand in nature. Let the last of their kind feed it. I leave for my new city in the morning, as was the deal." You watch as they throw the knife. It's hard to see the face of this individual in the dark. All you get the sense of is that deepened voice. But you hear the name again. Lord Dracon. And as the night cold air surrounds you, you are slowly pulled back into the present day, staring into the intensely focused eyes of Tellus as they watch your reaction. "What did you see?"
This time I wake up more confused.
As you wake up this time, you notice you are lying on your back. They have put a pillow under your head, and they are slowly brewing a warm-smelling honey tea. And they gently hold the cup towards your mouth. "Drink, yes, you must drink. Please. You have seen much."
I'll blindly drink it, on my face is kind of like confusion, processing kind of emotion, where I have some kind of understanding, but not really, of what I just saw, and I'm gonna keep whispering to myself, Lord Dracon.
"You heard a name? You see the deep past of dreams, hidden memories. The system does not tell the future, but we can infer much from the past."
I'll say Lord Dracon louder this time.
"Yes. Take time. Focus. Rest. Wisdom comes to those who give time and ponderance to what they see in their own memories."
I will, in an emotional exhaustion, suppose. Kind of drift off, sleep, some maybe, and I'm still over and over again whispering, and as it tails off, Lord Dracon.
That. Let's go to our final member of our party. Trash.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, follow my emotional trauma.
Yeah, just,
Have fun.
casually absorbing, fist fighting sharks and, mental trauma. And I'm just like, I like metal and parts. Woo.
This is that moment in time where your DM's like, oh, you would like a gift? Here's some trauma. Character growth, whether you like it or not. No.
Yeah.
Back to current day. In the early morning light, as the sun crests over the edge of the valley deep in the verdant embrace, you and Billet are directed towards the southern edge of the village. When you start to hear a loud banging and you hear the presses of a what's the term I'm looking for? I just had a brain fart. The bellows. I'm sorry. The bellows of a bellow press to basically move large amounts of air into a confined space, and you smell trash at this distance. The scent of wood fire coals as the banging of metal on metal becomes louder as you approach, and you turn the corner, and your guide points to a stout-looking Aarakocra man, a mixture of graying and brown feathers, but as your guide turns and walks back the way they came, leaving you before this individual, you see them look up briefly, their eyes covered with a set of makeshift goggles of sorts, as they turn, their feathers just completely covered in soot and slag. And as you look closer and you approach, you see the right wing, whereas most of the Aarakocra have these strong plumes of feathers making up the composition of their wings. This one appears to be heavily damaged from past injuries. What feathers have grown back in only small, uneven tufts of plumage. And you see that this is most likely a very flight debilitating injury to one side of this Aarakocra's right arm. But they have their wings and the plumage tied tightly with leather straps and various protectant cloths that are wetted down as to not be burned in the fires, as they take their talons and use them to strike a piece of metal, shaping this red hot, near molten piece of metal over an anvil as they look up towards you. And as they continue to strike in this rhythmic pattern that you've seen many times for various blacksmiths and fine metal workers do just like this. And as you watch Trash, you see as you count the rhythm of the strikes and you watch the movements, there is no wasted energy as they strike down on this metal. This individual is a craftsman through and through. And as they make their final hard strike, as the metal begins to cool a bit too much, they turn and drive it back below the coals. And you see another pair of Aarakocra, much younger, probably not much more than in their mid to late teens at best, beginning to pull at the ends of the bellows, using all their weight on this massive bellows to push air into the coals to stoke the fire and raise the temperature on the ever-cooling charcoals in the forge as the man turns and lifts the goggles and looks at you both. Hello. May I have your names?
Crash.
And you? Oh, it's, I go by Billet. Right. You're the ones the elders sent to assist today, yes?
Is correct.
Know that I hold no quarter for inexperience. And he turns and looks at the two Aarakocra boys who are watching you now. And immediately when he sees their gaze divert from what they're working on, they just dart away as if they weren't looking and start pushing down on the bellows once again. I am busy. Although I would like help at times, I do not need the help of amateurs. Are we clear? You will listen closely, and you will learn. And although his words are stern and somewhat come off as condescending, you get this understanding in his voice that this is a warning that this is not by any means a safe trade. Like, that he's doing this in a trying to instill a little bit of fear and concern as a form of protection. So you understand the risk of what you're getting involved with.
Mm-hmm.
Not really understanding what your experiences in forging are, but trying to instill the dangers of what they are doing.
Right.
It doesn't come across as directly condescending. It can be misconstrued, but with your passive insight, you can kind of understand that he is not doing so in a malicious way.
Right.
More so as just a stern teacher. Also, probably trying to set an example for the two young Aarakocra working with him.
Yeah, for sure.
Boys, come and hold this piece. You, Billet, Trash, you will take their place. When I tell you, begin to pull the bellows. You must do it in rhythm. Do not waste energy. Otherwise, you will be tired in no time and useless. Are we clear? You watch as they come out and they grab these large tongs, and the piece, as you get closer now, you can see that he's working on is this large trident head. And as you get closer now to the bellows and specifically the forge, you get a strange scent coming off the coals that you've not caught a whiff of in any other forge you've seen, Trash. And you've seen several arcane forges now, but you've never seen one more along this sort of manual labor end, as most of the forges you've seen in and around the Magisterium Arcanum are a lot of the times are operated by arcane means to mitigate any damage that may occur to the blacksmith. Oftentimes using various forms of mage hand or some sort of earthen grasp or things of that nature to hold large pieces of equipment and apply them at a safe distance. But this is far more visceral, far more intimate. And you get this sense as he pulls down his goggles and the two young Aarakocra, their wings also covered back now, and you see the cloths, similar ones, tying back the wings and the plumage to keep them from burning. and covered in this wet material. They look over to you and they give a nod towards some of the protective equipment you see on a table there, if needed. But you see a variety of different gloves and things of that nature. Oh, I don't think I'll be needing that. I'm not really, burnable? Well, at least not easily. Very well. And you watch as he begins to slam this large, heavy-looking hammer against the ends of this trident head, spreading out the metal. And as you look over and these sparks begin to fly, and you look past that as you get closer to the bellows, you begin to see it for what it is. There in the coals of this forge, in whatever wood or natural brush that they are using to make these coals and stoke these fires, are veins. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to ask if it's possible to try to do like insight or perception to see if I do know, if I'm aware of what kind of coal or something that they're using that I'm not really familiar with.
Yeah, go ahead if you want to get more information.
That was a terrible roll. Let's see. What would it be under? Perception, I guess, or?
Yeah, perception or investigation, your choice.
Well, either way, it was awful. 7.
7. You don't get a lot of detail, but at this distance, it doesn't take much. It wasn't a high DC. You see veins of what you recognize as likely lunarium.
Ooh, okay.
Spreading through this dry, consolidated brush and wood-like material, this charcoal that they're using to stoke this fire in this forge. And that's where this sort of sweetened, sour scent is coming from, as these charcoals are burned.
Mm.
But you can see now at this distance as he strikes this material. One must be careful to not overheat the material. Too hot, and as it cools, it will shatter, become brittle. If it doesn't heat up enough, the metal won't move. It is a delicate dance we make with otherwise immovable materials. And as you watch, get ready now! And you watch as billet he's quite short, but jumps up and grabs one end of the bellows and kind of nods over to you to grab the other end. Just as the blacksmith grabs the material and shoves it back below the coals. Now, stoke the fires! Go ahead and give me, Trash, go ahead and give me a general dex check, if you don't mind.
Okay.
And I'm going to have Billet roll as well.
General dexterity.
Yeah, just a dex check.
Okay. General was 12 total.
12? Okay. Between the two of you, you are able to not only pull the bellows, but also keep in time with the rhythm that you watched earlier, observing the two younger Aarakocra boys pulling down on this bellows, not doing so too quickly or too voraciously as to tire yourself out, but not so slow that the movement of the air being pushed out allows the coals to cool. Yes, good job. Good job. Yes, keep that movement, that rhythm. Get to know it well. And after a few minutes of this, you can feel like these boys have probably been doing this since they woke up this morning or not soon after, that a whole day of this rhythmic, you would definitely need to balance yourself out, because otherwise if you went too hard too quickly, you would be completely exhausted and pass out by midday. that this sort of pattern, this inherent learning of rhythm and how to pace oneself, working the forge is critical. After probably an hour or so of this routine of you and Billet beginning to work this bellows, he looks at you both and looks at the young lads. Good. Now come here. Switch places once again. As he pushes the material back below the coals one time. At this point, the rough forging is nearly complete of this material. As he takes a deep breath and looks at the two of you. Well done. Is this your first time working in a forge?
Is this my first time working in a forge?
To this extent, yes, but you would have some extent of arcane crafting, just in a different manner. So some of that experience kind of translates. You definitely recognize the rhythmic hammering, the extended work. You can kind of get the gist that Billet's of a similar understanding, just a finer sort of craftsmanship as opposed to this more very voracious and manual crafting of material.
Okay.
This metal we make, it is nothing unique in this world, but the material we stoke the fires with, it is unique to this region. Provides a sharpness, a excellent, unique temper to the materials at hand. An edge that does not dull quickly. But it takes years to learn to craft. Would you like to try? As he looks towards you, Trash.
I'm always in the pursuit of knowledge and always wanting to better my own craft of especially now that Billet has been teaching me to make or craft the boomstick, that it's definitely something that I have interest in for sure.
As you give an affirmation, you see now that the majority of this material is already roughly forged, but the finer tuning, he lifts up a smaller hammer, probably no more than 4 or 5 pounds, with a more rounded tip, and a sharpened rear edge that he hands to you. It has weight, but definitely is more of a precision device versus the one that he was previously using to forge with. Let's see how well you can shape the edge of these trident tips. This will be a hunter's lifeline. Our work feeds the tribe. It protects it. Although we do not stand on line with them any longer, our weapons are the source of their strength. As he pulls this material forward, he looks at you. Now, slowly strike side to side at the tip as I turn the material. Go ahead and give me one more dexterity check, but you can also add your proficiency bonus at the end if you'd like,
Okay.
or tools proficiency.
So I can add, um, sorry, I can add. So I'm rolling still like a dex check.
Yeah, it's like a tools check basically.
Okay. So then I'd be able to add dexterity plus my proficiency bonus, is what you're saying?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So that would be 17 total.
17, not bad. As he moves the material back and forth, moving it in precision with you as you strike at a 45-degree angle. Good, good, yes. Keep the rhythm. Keep the momentum of the hammer. Move it side to side. Draw it out. Sharpen it. And you watch as he turns, and then he moves to the next tip, allowing you to continue as you are finding your bearing, your rhythm in this sort of movement. Before he turns and has you stop, he grabs a very fine but stiff brush and scrapes away the slag that's formed on the end of the tip, revealing more of this like red hot metal, and then turning to Billet. You, little metal one, come here. I need you to hold this steady. And he grabs a piece of wetted leather and holds down, and you hear it sizzle as he holds it down, but then has Billet take over for him as he goes to grab another flattening tool. Let's see. Yeah, and you watch as Billet instinctively, watching your rhythm, begins to hold this, and as he turns and grabs this tool, begins to direct you once again, moving the material back and forth, now refining the edge with this particular form, getting it down to almost a perfectly sharpened point, and there is yet to be any type of grinding on this material. It is amazing to see such a blunt force being applied in such a refined manner. You've never seen any sort of craftsmanship like this. And moving forward, you may add to any craftable items in the future. You may go ahead and add bonus of the smith to those rolls of a +2.
Bonus of, ooh.
So we can add that later if you just want to write it down.
Okay.
So any tools checks to create later, you can add bonus of the smith to said roll. And as you're striking and you get into this rhythm, this sort of dance across the metal with your hands, and you're watching Billet focus forward, now you look down and you see some runes across his chest plate you didn't see before, much finer than some of the other ones that he had shown you earlier. Runes that seem far more recent than the ones you had seen previously.
On Billet?
On Billet. Right around, almost like the right around the collar, like just below where the head meets the torso, like just below where kind of where the like right where the sternum would be, like right in the center, just below the throat. If Billet were to have much of a throat. You can see he definitely has some sort of like softer servo and circuitry below some of the plating. But like the armor plating that's right there around the neck of, you see these more recently carved runes, and they don't look like they're carved exceptionally well.
Okay. I was going to say, do I recognize the like nature of these ruins, or like could I translate some of them? Is there...
Sure. Go ahead and give me an Arcana check.
Arcana. me. 19 total.
Unfortunately, you don't recognize what these runes are.
Dang. Okay.
They are very crude, but making them even more difficult to translate. But they do seem to be much more recent than those that you see on the rest of his form, like the draconic and the elvish runes that you see in the mixture of dwarvish runes that seem to be much more intentional and much more well crafted and intentional. Although these are there, they don't seem to have been there originally at the creation of Billet.
Okay. Could I try to ask him about it, or see if he remembers, or if he even is aware that those are inscriptions on his body that are a bit different?
Yeah, how do you specifically ask him?
I guess, I'll just maybe just kind of gesture that I just noticed you have these additional runic symbols. They look a little bit different than the ones on the other parts of you. Do you happen to know where those ones came from, or who inscribed you with those? They just look a bit more recent.
Oh, yeah, oh shit! And you watch as he drops the piece as it sizzles in the slag on the sandy rough surface. Hey, pay attention! And he grabs again, trying to grab the material off as the blacksmith tries to scrape away the sand that was left on the surface before immediately grabbing it away from Billet and then shoving it back into the coals one more time to try to temper the material.
Sorry.
You need to pay attention. Not looking at you, but looking at him. Oh, yeah, yes. Sorry. I definitely, that one's on me. That's definitely on me. I got a bit distracted there. Yeah, sorry about that. Rain check on that question there, Trash.
Okay.
But this sort of back and forth goes on. Is there anything during this whole exchange as you assist in various repairs throughout the day? Some pieces of, not a lot of armor, mostly you see a lot of spears, forging of barbed arrowheads that you've seen among the various hunters, repairs of various some like axes and things of that nature, but mostly for the usage of utility devices more so than actual like battle axes and things of that nature. Most of what you see as far as like hand-to-hand melee weapons that other than the arrow tips are these spear and trident heads that you assume are more likely for hunting than they are for fighting in any sort of militaristic way.
Right.
But as this is going on, is there anything you would like to do before we move forward?
I would say probably not. Like I think probably after when the day's work is done, I'll maybe have some follow-up questions, but being mindful that I've already caused like a minor commotion and I do want to focus on the work, and I am learning a lot, that I do want to just focus on the task at hand and just make sure I can absorb as much of the process and the knowledge, having been like this my first experience in like a proper forge, to just like, yeah, just get as much of like knowledge of the process as I can.
Sure. It is a brutally exhausting day. Even after you've kind of gotten the pace of things down, it is still nonetheless exhausting. Go ahead and give me a Constitution saving throw.
Okay. actually not bad. Let's see. 23.
23. You are definitely tired, but you don't gain a level of exhaustion. Billet looks also very tired, but also does not seems to be able to muscle through. He definitely seems more distracted towards the end of the day, though, having been asked about said runes on his chest.
Mm-hmm.
And you gather that with your passive insight and perception. But by the end of the day, you watch as the group of the hunting party begins to return. As Dazes, you are flown back along with a variety of mollusks, oysters, fish, and of course, the massive great white shark that you had all successfully caught. And brought back safely to the village. Floof, you are escorted down with Tellus as they kind of are in the process of observing you after the observance in the cistern, making sure that you are all right, and they're going to go ahead and cast Bless on you. So any future rolls for the next hour or so, you will have an extra D4 to add. As you all come together, you can see that the arrival of all this this catch for the day, including this giant shark, this nearly 1,000-pound predator of the sea, is greeted with great anticipation as it is seen at a distance, being flown in by no less than 3 different hunters, having to hold this creature aloft. Floof, you're still a bit woozy from the experiences, the memories given to you by the cistern, but the fresh air definitely helps, as a lot of the wafting vapors of Tellus's residence have now kind of dissipated in your chest. But you see a variety of people beginning to collect up this this meal. You see that the 2 young boys that you were working with, Trash, are excitedly trying to rush to clean up, even though the smith is Gormar, his name, shouts out, "Do not rush! Clean, boys!" As he urges them to stay where they are and not abandon the end of the day and leave things half finished. But shortly thereafter, as people are beginning to gather and congratulate the hunting party having returned, you see Zaisha approach you all, and you also see from high above, you watch the elder Olmangerm slowly glide down, and then beside him is another Aarakocra carrying Gamil, gliding down in their talons. It appears they were likely in a discussion still at a higher point along one of the cliff faces, possibly in the elder's residence. But you see them observing from a higher vantage point, and still discussing a bit back and forth at a distance. But what would you all like to do as you are reunited together?
I'll probably, even though like I'm tired, I'd probably like excitedly want to like talk with Dazes and get the story behind this massive, monstrous like ancient beast that they like felled, and I'm like excitedly, I'm like smell a bit like just like fire and coal, and I'm just like, yeah, I learned so much. And then I just see Floof's face, and I'm like, you good, buddy?
I am unresponsive, lost in thought, sitting down.
Oh no.
Dazes and Floof, you see kind of a layer of like soot, like just under the surface of trashes. Usually, more clear form now is a lot more graying and opaque than usual. And you see your traveling companion Billet is just covered in this thin layer of soot and slag. As he's kind of looking about, observing the various members of the tribe, and specifically the elder. But shortly thereafter, maybe 20 or 30 minutes later, you are greeted by Zaisha as well as Elder Gam. I hear you all succeeded well. I hear good to excellent things of all of you. I believe your presence here is a boon to our people. And, seeing as how you have not made a nuisance of yourself, we will tentatively return that which we took. And you watch as one of the Umbral Hunters bring back your weapons that they had confiscated from you all. The elders of the tribe are preparing for a impromptu feast this evening. You all are welcome to join us. We are celebrating a unexpected victory. As he looks to you, Dazes. You brought quite a bit more than we can likely store. We did not expect to see such a bountiful gift of the sea. So, we will not let anything go to waste. Seeing as how we don't have the time to prepare for longer term storage, we will go ahead and preserve what we can, and the rest will be divvied up among the people as a bit of a evening feast, if you will. Thank you. An unexpected gift of the world.
I'm glad to be able to provide it to you all.
Indeed. And perhaps tomorrow we can discuss what you and I were previously speaking of, Master Gamil. I would also like your input. As he looks at the three of you. You seem to have some stake in what is going on here. But tonight we celebrate. From there, you watch as a number of the individuals, including some of the sort of midwife, caretakers of children are now bringing down some of the younger children down from all across this double-sided village. You see many more individuals are gathering down in the base of the Verdant Embrace. Now you're seeing, you know, what was previously a few dozen at any given time down here to hundreds of Aarakocra beginning to prepare and divvy up meals for that evening based on what can and cannot be, you know, stored for a long-term period of time. And it is a large amount of food as you begin to smell the delicious scent of cooked fish, you get that charred charcoal scent of the shark flesh that's being splayed out over a large grill like apparatus. Not the same charcoals that were used in the forge. You see, trash, not quite the same. More so a mixture of dry brush, some herbs that are tossed in to give more of a smoky flavor as the fish is grilled over open grates. You also see a number of stored vegetables that are brought to accompany, as well as a sort of mixture of wild rice and fish stew that is prepared from some of the remaining flesh. Some of the darker portions that are not as easy and are a bit more tough to consume, that are not more the like premium cuts, are used to make this strong sort of seafood broth, if you will. Some of the bones and things of that nature that would otherwise go to waste are boiled down in a pot, and it's just releasing this delicious scent throughout the entire bottom of the cavern, down by the sorry, I'm having a brain fart. down by the river. Sorry, playing too much Baldur's Gate. Down by the well. Yeah, there you go. Sing that one. It doesn't sound as great down by the well. But anyway, as you sit down, across from you see Zaisha as well as Gamil. His scales kind of glinting in the slowly rising moonlight. But you see all around you various Aarakocra sharing in a meal, passing around food, a handful of various homemade liquors are being slowly passed around, kind of avoiding the children so they don't grab one of them. You get the scent that it's got this strong, like almost cinnamony like flavor. It's not quite cinnamon, but it's got a similar sort of aroma to it. And you watch as a few small glasses, very small, like almost like shots, are passed to the three of you.
I'll take one.
You take it down. It burns. It burns, but it does the trick. Let's just put it that way. It is a special kind of bathtub booze.
No boy.
But it definitely warms you up as the temperature is dropping rapidly.
I almost like I'm on autopilot, but I'm still just kind of processing, but I will drink it and not react at all. Just down it.
Again, it burns going on the way down, but it compared to the intensity of your day and the emotional intensity of the day, it goes down pretty smoothly and does the trick. Accompanied by food, you begin to feel a sense of warmth and clarity, at least as much as you can, given the emotional stimulation you experienced today. As you try to piece together what you witnessed. Is there anything else you all would like to discuss or would like to do as the night grows longer and colder?
I'm still just I want to go on record saying I haven't said a word all day. I'm just lost.
How about you, Trash or Dazes? Is there anything?
I don't really do like much, but just, I mean, I am concerned for my friend having that he hasn't spoken all day, and I'm just trying my best to see if I can comfort him. So, you know, I send Panda over. And Panda is not, he's a defender. He's not a support animal. So he's trying his best, but he's just kind of standing around just like, ah. He's not very comforting, but I'm trying. And, you know, I don't know if this will like hurt his heart or make him better, but I kind of like shape myself to look like a bit of a teddy bear to give him a hug.
Floof, how do you react to this?
I will. I'm breaking down. I'm gonna start weeping uncontrollably, and I'm gonna grab both Dazes and Trash and bring them in for a hug and hug them really hard. And I'm almost like one of those old toys, like squishing Trash, but I'm just gonna start crying, and I'm just gonna say bad day, and then I'm gonna smell Trash and say smell worse than usual.
That's true. Well, for what it's worth, if you had a bad day, there's going to be another one tomorrow. Hopefully it's a little bit better. And it's I don't know. I think it's this deep pain you're feeling is almost beautiful in a way, because it means that at one point in your life you had something so precious and so dear to you to cause you to feel this way, and I've never had that. So I hope you take some comfort in knowing that we're here for you and recognize what a precious gift you had.
I'll nod. Thankfully, I won't say anything, but appreciate the words and recognizing that your words made me feel comfortable. I'm gonna turn very awkwardly, almost wide-eyed, expectingly towards Dazes, waiting for him to also say something.
I'm gonna say what Trash said, and then I'm gonna hug you back because I'm not good with words.
Love it. I now recognize that I'm feeling just a little bit better, that I do have my companions, and I am going to ferociously shovel food in.
I love it. I love it. Got that team bonding moment there. While this is going on, Dazes, one of the midwives, healers, comes over and looks at you. I was told that you were hurt in today's hunting mission. May I?
Yes, of course.
And she's going to cast Cure Wounds on you. You regain 22 hit points.
Oh boy, nice.
And
Damn, I took 24.
there you go. Yeah, if anybody needs to take a short rest or anything like that, or anything else. Well, I don't know if did anybody else lose. I don't think anyone else lost any hit points or anything,
Nope.
or spent any abilities that they would need to get back on a short rest.
I think I turned into a cat the other day, so I got a spell slot to get back, or wild shape to get back.
Well, you shouldn't. You should have taken a long rest since then, so you should already have that back.
Oh, okay, never mind.
But as the night grows on, Aziz, you're the first to notice that, as everyone is beginning to finish up their meal, most, if not all, of the remainder of the shark and some of the other spoils of the hunt you all went on are either consumed or stored or being utilized for other preparations for following days. You begin to see a bit of concern on the face of Zaisha across from you. She looks over, looks around, looking over to one of the other hunters that had returned with you. At this point, you recall that not all of the hunters had returned with you in the same group. There were 2 or 3 smaller groups, kind of led by a similar individual like Zaisha, kind of ahead. One of those groups had stayed behind, continuing to gather up on a different portion of the coast that you were on, a little further down, probably 4 or 5 miles down, but you far enough that you along the flattened coast that you would be able to see them just at the distance of the far edge of your vision. But they have not returned. You hear Zaisha whisper to one of the other hunters, concerned. You don't understand all the words, but you understand the concern, the worry. And you shrug it off at first, but as everything is beginning to get gathered up for the evening, you look over, and Zaisha's gaze has turned upwards towards the edge of the canyon, back towards the coast. And even at this distance, you can see the fear in her eyes. And it takes a moment as she stares off into the distance, her gaze looking off into the darkness. Even with the edge of your dark vision, you see nothing before it comes closer and closer into view, just at the edge of the moonlight as it shimmers up in the sky and climbs. You see this awkwardly gliding figure coming closer and closer. And as it gets closer, you see it is definitely one of the hunting party that had remained behind, but they are not flying straight. In fact, they are barely staying aloft. As they are flying, you watch Zaisha take off in a panicked ascent as this Aarakocra hunter slowly begins to fall from a great height towards the edge of the cliff wall. Falling, striking hard against one of the adjacent rocks before Zaisha is able to grab just the edge of their shoulder with a talon, but not before they sustain a very traumatizing injury. Thankfully, still barely conscious, they are dragged downwards to a safe descent. And you watch now as this whole ordeal has now caught the attention of multiple individuals, as well as yourselves. Trash, Floof, you now see as this commotion is beginning to draw the attention of those who remain in the base of the Verdant Embrace. The injured Aarakocra hunter, although took a good amount of damage from that fall and the resulting strike against the cliff wall, you see on their form injuries of a different kind. Bloody, piercing strikes, as well as what looks like acidic burns across their flesh. These piercing like strikes all across the body. You see this sludgy, almost like rotten seaweed like slime is oozing out of some of the wounds and draped across their form, their wings, across the legs and the torso, as a mixture of their blood, and as it comes into the darkness, you see it slowly glowing, this bioluminescence as it drips out of these piercing wounds. As you all see this, what do you do?
How far from us are they?
About 50, 60 feet straight ahead, as they've come down to a flat, safe location just a little ways up the hill.
Okay. You said a few people noticed.
You see
Can we
Zaisha
tell
calling
if-
over for a healer of some kind.
Okay.
As they're crying out now, you can hear the cawing in their bird-like tongue, and you see a rush of two of these sort of midwife healers, as well as Tellus, coming down from above, slowly soaring down in that direction as well.
My instinct is to look and see if we're under attack and check the skies and see if I see anything that might be a threat.
Yeah, go ahead and give me a perception check. And you don't have dark vision, do you?
Unfortunately not.
You can give me a perception check, but it'll be at disadvantage, as it is nighttime, and your range of vision would be very limited. The 9.
Do I have that blessing, or is that gone?
Yeah, you can add the yeah, it would just be beginning to fade. Yeah, you can add a D4 to it. 11. Unfortunately, you don't see anything beyond what you see now at the edge of the lit portions of the canyon.
I'll still keep scanning, even though see anything.
Okay. Trash, Dazes, what are you doing?
I guess I'll just like approach. I don't want to like get in the way of the healers or anything like that, but
Sure.
I guess I'll just like walk over.
At this
Yeah,
distance, okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Maybe I was just say I would be just kind of shadowing, so just behind as he's kind of doing the same.
Okay. At this distance, you can see this individual, although quickly being tended to by Zaisha as well as one of the approaching healers. You can see they have nearly half a dozen deep puncture wounds across their body. And oozing out of these wounds is this viscous liquid that stinks of low tide. And when it's not directly in the light of the rising moon, you can see it gives off this soft greenish blue glow. This bioluminescence that you've seen, Dazes, on some more deep water fish species, kind of coloring them in the dark abyss of the ocean.
I'll turn my attention towards the injured air cockerel and see if I could smell or see anything, and have a healing spell as well. And I'll use it, healing spirit over.
You cast Healing Spirit over the Aarakocra hunter, and you definitely see that the Healing Spirit is closing some of the wounds, but just as rapidly as they are closed, you see this viscous liquid searing the exposed flesh. And that, although the wounds close, the liquid, as it remains, continues to burn like acid. You hear Tellus cry out as she descends downward. Lead them be! Lead them be! Do not touch! Do not touch! Must be cleaned! Must be cleansed! Do not touch! Do not touch! They have been assaulted by the deep! Do not touch! They reach out, and they're in the process of trying to... Let me double check something real quick here. I believe they have this. You can definitely tell your healing spirit is definitely working, but simultaneously these wounds are not closing as long as this liquid is buried in them. Okay. Let's see here. Yes, you watch as Tellus reaches out their hand. Step back! Step back! Do not touch! Do not touch! This is a grievous wound. Do not touch. This is evil. Evil and natural. Not of nature. This is Vash. Vash! Do not touch! And you see this bright greenish yellow glow as they kind of in the same sort of motion of sweeping up as if to scoop this liquid out without touching it. You watch as this liquid or this light forms in this orb over the top of this individual as they try their best, and this liquid is just drawn up into this sphere out of the body of this hunter. As you hear them cry out this awful like screeching call as this ooze is drawn up. How many points of healing is your healing spirit doing per round?
Doing 2d6.
Okay. Go ahead and roll 4 rounds if you don't mind.
Okay. Which one? There's
Okay.
2. It's up to 10. Here's 3. 15 and 4. 23.
as this liquid is drawn out of the body of this wounded hunter, it is, and the healing spirit slowly begins to close. It is a race against time as you cast the healing spirit over and over, and you feel the energy soak into their body. Just barely. You needed to have a total healing of at least 20 HP, so you just barely cleared it. But you watch as the last remaining drops of this viscous, vile liquid is drawn out of the body and into this ore before it is compressed down and dried into a powder. And you watch as Tellus grabs this orb of energy and crushes it between their talons as this soft powder just crumbles to the ground like sand. This is ancient, evil, unnatural. Hush! Hush!
My eyes perk up.
Take them away. Take them away. We will continue to heal. It is gone, but they need time. We will talk later. Tellus is calling to the various healers that have now arrived, who begin to continue their work healing this individual. But thankfully you were successful, but they are unconscious right now. As they're carefully carried away to the up to a separate area to be further tended to and rest. You look over and the eyes of Zaisha are intense and fearful. And you hear her call back and forth to some of the other hunters that were in your group, Dazes. And it's a mixture of common and their bird-like language. But you hear, gather the weapons. You hear, gather the men, gather the hunters. We must find what did this. Is the gist of the conversation.
Okay.
What do you all do?
Well, I wanted to ask you guys if you're up for a fight or not.
Yep, I'm ready.
I say Vosh evil must be destroyed.
As you say this, I cannot ask you to come with us. Zaisha responds. This will be dangerous. If this is truly what Tellus has told us, I can only imagine what dangers will wait at the coast.
Or a shrug. Don't care.
I will not refuse your help, but know that we cannot be responsible if you are hurt.
We know what we have chosen.
She gives you an acknowledging nod. We will not refuse your help. If you are willing to come, come along. You lets out a caw, and you watch as a trio of, well, four, actually, two for Floof and the two for others come soaring down from one of the adjacent buildings, the one that you recognize was full of various armaments, and come and collect the three of you. And Trash, while this is going on, you distinctly notice that Billet is nowhere to be seen.
Can I try to find him?
You can go ahead and give me go ahead and give me an investigation check. This is gonna be a pretty high DC.
Ah, dang it. I was so concerned with checking up on Floof, I completely forgot. Or investigation?
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel it'll be high enough. 16.
You don't see any sign of Billet. It's as if there are no footsteps, that they passed without a trace.
Hmm. I guess should I mention this to... I will mention this to Dazes
It's
and...
entirely up to you.
I will mention this to Dazes and Floof, that I had this conversation with Billet, and it completely passed my mind up until this moment, that I was like, oh my gosh, I don't see him anywhere.
Can I try looking for him as well?
Yeah, you can go ahead and give me an investigation check.
Oh, that's significantly worse. Okay.
You have no clue.
I'll also take a look using my nose. 'Cause it's dark out.
Okay. You can do so with disadvantage, since it's dark out.
With my nose?
Even here, I mean, at this point, it's...
Alright. Hey, what's going on?
That's with a disadvantage?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, holy shit.
That's really good.
That's amazing.
Yeah, with disadvantage, that's crazy. The only thing that you see is the ever so faint, broken, like, there's patches of plant life that are surrounded on various portions of the paths, kind of lining the heavily trodden areas of the canyon base, this lowest point of the verdant embrace, and those areas don't have a lot of vegetation around them. You notice that there's a portion of vegetation going the opposite direction of where the Aarakocra arrived from that is a bit broken. It's something small but heavy stepped over them.
I'll point it out that it's like his size over there, and point in the direction.
But it is distinctly opposite the path of the arrival of the hunters, or the injured hunter that arrived.
So at least opposite directions, in the sense that, hopefully he wasn't responsible for this. Like they're different paths completely.
Yeah, it's almost like the opposite path.
Okay.
Wherever they were heading is completely opposite of where the injured hunter was flying back from.
I'll just say worry about Billet later. Just because instinctually, I don't know. It seems like he's just off doing his own thing over somewhere.
He hasn't been anything but a companion to us. I guess I shouldn't have pointed this piece out, but I don't know. I wasn't, working in a forge. It's hot. I'm distracted. Perhaps I should have waited. I hope he's okay, but yeah, I guess this does seem like a more immediate threat to deal with.
Up to you. We help friend or we help them fight.
I'm looking at Dazes because I genuinely don't know.
I'm about to roll a d20 and choose. Or we could split the party up.
The DM's nightmare.
You can certainly do whatever you'd like. I will. There are ramifications for all choices, is all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I do not know. What was recount what was the conversation that you had with him before he I don't know.
Basically that and I'll just kind of recount. I noticed that while we were working there was another set of kind of runic symbols that were on his body that I hadn't noticed before. They were different in nature to the other ones. They look newer. And how did I spot them? Because they activated, or because
You spotted them when he was leaning down to move the material. And just at that distance, you noticed that they didn't appear to be of the same make or time frame. They looked more recent and not as intentional. They looked more crude. So
I pointed that out, and he dropped what he was working on. And then he said, we'll talk later. And he got very distracted afterwards. He seemed a little absent-minded. Would I have noticed, as distracted as I was with Floof, would I have at least kind of caught glimpses of him throughout that part where I could have seen that was he nervous, or I don't know.
Give me an insight check. But at disadvantage, because this isn't something you were actively doing. This is retroactively, so I'm going to say this is at disadvantage.
Okay. This is perception?
Insight.
Insight. Insight. Not much better, just 10.
And it's hard to say. I mean, he was there. You know he was there. I mean, that's kind of all you can remember. He was just kind of there after you all had left. When Dazes had arrived back, he was there, covered in soot. Beside you, covered in soot. And that's really the last thing you remember distinctively. You don't remember how long he was at, this sort of dinner celebration with you all. Whether he stayed the whole time. He kind of just was there.
Can I ask, what was her name? Zaisha?
Yeah.
Does it look like they're, well, I don't know if I have to ask, but does it look like they're heading to set out pretty immediately?
Yeah, you can, without even needing to ask, you can definitely tell that they're concerned about their comrades, the ones that didn't return. That there were probably almost a half a dozen more Aarakocra that didn't arrive back with this hunter. And you would remember that in the group that was specifically with you, there were about 6 or 7 individuals, including yourself. And then there were 2 other groups of similar size. 2 of the groups arrived back with you, and 1 group remained to finish collecting up what they had hunted and finish up. And that is the group that's now missing. So there's at least 5, if not 6 individuals that are unaccounted for.
Hmm. Shoot. I am, well, personally, I'm leaning a little towards the air cockroach just because, really just because there's more of them and they seem to be in, possibly more imminent danger.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess you don't know that for sure.
Yeah, I'm just afraid for our little friend, but I do think it's worth it to go help first, and then afterwards. I don't want to notify them of this, but we can always tell the tribe after that Billet has in fact gone missing, and I don't think they will miss spotting him.
What would you all like to do?
Okay.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that that seems like an okay plan to, I guess, join the Aarakocra first, and then on the return trip focus on Billet. Maybe keep an eye out for him.
Yeah, I'll agree with that and say we find Billet later. I help.
Trash. As this is going on and you all are deciding upon your next steps, you feel the small stone in your pocket begin to vibrate.
Like Catherine Sending Stone?
Yes.
I'll pick it up.
As you pick it up and the soft glow and the vibration comes to an apex, you hear the voice of your friend and mentor. Trash, are you all right? Where are you now? I have reason to believe something dangerous has begun to track your progress across the continent.
I'm all right. I'm with the Herman tribe. Sorry, I blanked.
The Herman.
The Herman. We recently came under their guidance, but didn't get my stuff back till now. I'm okay. Are you?
You don't hear a response back in the stone, but you do hear a soft voice in your mind. I can't speak very much right now. Stay safe. You are in capable hands with the tribes of the Herman. Please be...
If I think back, would she hear it? Do I have a sense?
Hear what? I'm sorry.
Because you said this is more in my mind now. Like, I'm thinking...
This is... Yeah, the other voice previously when it was speaking through the stone, everyone around you would be able to hear it.
Okay.
What she said from the stone and then what you responded back to the stone are spoken words because of the sending stone. What you're hearing now is only in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
This is a direct sending from her. You would recognize this as she's done this before.
Would I know then I could communicate back, like, telepathically?
It's the same way, but...
Just not through the stone.
Just not through the...
my mind kind of thing.
Yeah, you would...
Okay, perfect.
You hear... Please be safe. You are in capable hands with the Herman. I cannot talk any further. But be aware. Someone or something dangerous is following you. And you can respond if you'd like, but You hear no more words from Catherine.
Well, I'm looking forward to telling you all about the tribe. I've learned so much. The following part is worrying. But thanks. I'll keep safe.
Okay. You don't hear any more words in your mind. But as you speak back in your thoughts, you then hear the words of Zaisha spoken to the three of you. Are you coming? We are leaving now. If you wish to accompany us, we must depart.
I will grip my spear and nod.
You feel a pair of talons on either shoulder grab and lift you up into the air as they fly deep into the chilly night air towards the coast as the moonlight glistens off the top of the waters of the ocean far to the east. Followed by another set of talons that grab at your shoulders, Dazes. While a final set grab at your shoulders, or what could be perceived as shoulders, Trash, digging in a little bit into your gelatinous-like form, but finding purchase as they pull you as well up into the air towards the coast. It is a tense flight. The Aarakocra are on edge, and it is easy to sense from all of you. Zaisha says nothing as the cool night air whips by your faces. It takes a decent amount of time for you to approximately an hour or so. You are familiar with this flight, Dazes, having flown here this morning and now back and back again. You hear the crashing of waves as you draw ever closer to the sea, the moonlight glistening off of the outer waves as you draw close to the coast. And as you land, you are greeted with a gruesome sight along the sandy beach as a greenish, bluish fog floats over the coast. And a massive creature lay still and mutilated on the sands. A motionless creature nearly 200 feet in length lay still on the sands, surrounded by this bluish green fog. And covered in a similar oozing liquid to the wounded hunter that had arrived back in the verdant embrace. This creature shows no signs of life. The air here is chilly, and the fog grows ever denser as the waves crash on the sand across this creature's lifeless body. And that's where we'll go ahead and end for tonight.
Oh, snap.
This should be interesting.